All right, the breaking news today, Nikki Haley is suspending her presidential campaign, clearing the path for former President Donald Trump to win the Republican nomination. And it sets up a 2020 rematch of sorts between President Biden and Trump. For a look at what led to Haley's decision, I think it might have had a little bit to do with money, but money's connected to the votes. We have Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto, who is here with more on Super Tuesday exit polls. I say that because, there's a line that candidates never run out of things to say, they just run out of money. But if they can't get the votes, then it's hard to raise the money, right?
Well, you said a clear path, cleared the path. Well, Donald Trump's path was looking pretty strong.
It was, right.
So
tell us who voted for Haley and where do we see her supporters going now?
I think that's the question on the minds of everybody today, and we can get some clues. We won't really have an answer to that for maybe months, but we can get some clues. So here's the map, and you see Donald Trump was on the verge of clinching anyway. So let's start with this because I think it's an important tell, right? In Virginia, for example, last night. For Haley voters, was your vote mainly for Haley or against Trump? And you get this, it's 59%, 6 and 10, say it was against Trump. Now, part of that is driven by the fact that a lot of people who consider themselves independents, some people who consider themselves even Democrats, were coming in to primaries like this. And they were voting sometimes, obviously, in a protest against Donald Trump, et cetera. And that's why Nikki Haley, that's one reason why Nikki Haley's voting pool tended to be more independents, go more towards independents, right? Whereas Donald Trump's voters tended to skew much more heavily towards Republicans, and then he won Republicans overwhelmingly in many cases. Okay, what do we take from that? Well, if they're independents and they were in this primary to vote against Trump, that might be a tell. They're not necessarily ready to vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
Is that somebody, the kind of voter that the Biden campaign is going to try to court and try and go after? Okay, that will be something to watch. At the same time, a lot of people who are right-leaning conservative Republicans, even if they're not satisfied with the nominee, historically, most of them come home. So that's going to be the puzzle going forward.
So we saw during the really early states that voted in primaries and caucuses, Iowa and such, that when they were asked about Donald Trump's legal problems, it was like, what legal problems? It didn't even register. What does it look like with Super Tuesday voters? Yeah,
well, let's look at North Carolina, for example, because that does set up another big question as we go forward, right? In this case, North Carolina, for Republican primary voters, if he's convicted, does that make him fit to be president? Or he's still fit to be president? Yeah, 2/3 say that. Now, there's a reason behind this, and that is, remember, Republican voters, by and large, have bought the false argument that Donald Trump has made that the 2020 election had fraud.
Right.
And that, therefore, the charges against him are politically motivated. And that, therefore, if he's convicted, he would still be fit to be president. That's how you get there, right? But at the same time, these are the Republican primary voters. What happens to everybody else if that happens? And that becomes a big question in the campaign.
And so then, when we talk about the issues that people are most concerned about, what are the issues that are driving this election?
Okay. Well, one is the economy.
Yeah.
Two is immigration.
Yeah.
And I'm going to scroll along here until I find that slide because it's an important one. So here it is, right? This is our national poll, but this one is also important. I'm going to circle it, right? Because the economy isn't going to surprise anybody, but the state of democracy.
That's what surprised me. I just wonder if that's authentic.
Well, yes. Yeah. But state of democracy means different things to different people, right? So for Democrats, this means they see threats. They see threats from the Trump campaign. They see threats to democracy overturning elections. But then on the right, when we do those questions, we find they believe there's fraud in elections, and they believe there's people on the left trying to influence things in an untoward way. So that's a battle going on right now to define that as much as to win that segment.
That makes a lot of sense. Anthony, it's always great talking to you. I know you've been up forever. I don't know if you slept since last night, but I appreciate you being here.
It's all good.